people have testified in this inquiry referencing your widely published comments and calling the unvaccinated racist and misogynist. And we have heard testimony in this inquiry about how some of your officials wanted to label protesters as terrorists. Would you agree with me that one of the most important roles of a prime minister is to unite Canadians and not divide them by engaging in name calling?
I did not call people who were unvaccinated names. I highlighted there is a difference between people who are hesitant to get vaccinated for any range of reasons and people who deliberately spread misinformation that puts at risk the life and health of their fellow Canadians. My focus every step of the way, and the primary responsibility of a prime minister, is to keep Canadians safe and alive.
On va s'en sortir de cette pandémie par la vaccination. Puis on en connaît tous des gens qui sont en train d'hésiter un petit peu. On va continuer d'essayer de les convaincre. Mais il y a aussi des gens qui sont farouchement opposés à la vaccination. Qui sont extrémistes. Qui ne croient pas dans la science, qui sont souvent misogynes, souvent racistes aussi. C'est un petit groupe, mais qui prend de la place. Et là, il faut faire un choix en tant que leader, en tant que pays. Est-ce qu'on tolère ces gens-là ou est-ce qu'on dit, voyons, la plupart des gens, presque 80% des Québécois ont fait ce qu'il fallait faire, se sont fait vacciner, on veut revenir aux choses qu'on aime faire. C'est pas ces gens-là qui vont nous bloquer.
I know you're wondering about what you saw in our capital city this weekend. As my friend Irwin Cotler said on Saturday, freedom of expression, assembly, and association are cornerstones of democracy, but Nazi symbolism, racist imagery, and desecration of war memorials are not. It is an insult to memory and truth. Hate can never be the answer. Over the past few days, Canadians were shocked and frankly disgusted by the behavior displayed by some people protesting in our nation's capital. I want to be very clear. We are not intimidated by those who hurl insults and abuse at small business workers and steal food from the homeless. We won't give in to those who fly racist flags. We won't cave to those who engage in vandalism or dishonor the memory of our veterans. On Monday, as we entered the third week of illegal blockades and occupations, the federal government invoked the Emergencies Act. We did it to protect families and small businesses, to protect jobs and the economy. We did it because the situation could not be dealt with under any other law in Canada. Mr. Speaker, we did it because that's what responsible leadership requires us to do. For the good of all Canadians, the illegal blockades and occupations have to stop, and the borders have to remain open. Even in Canada, where, yes, there are angry mobs who are threatening violence and hurling racist epithets, there are people coming out to stand beside them and say, we support you. Keep it up. We know vaccines are the way through this. People who come out and will bear the shouts and the insults because they believe in choosing a better future than the one that those anti-vaxxers are fighting for. So yes, even at the risk of knowing that people thought I might be waving at those anti-vaxxers who I was basically ignoring, because I won't respond to anger with anger, I'll just ignore them. But I will encourage and thank those Canadians who are willing to stand up for the path they know is right for them and their communities.
Hi, Mr. Trudeau. You just said that you can't let the, quote, anti-vaxxer mob dictate the future, and you also said that you can't back down. But security aside, do you not feel that your attendance at events like yesterday, where the protesters are largely not wearing masks, there's no social distancing, does that not pose a health risk to you, your security detail, and your supporters who were there? Some of them were young, unvaccinated children as well.
First of all, the idea that those anti-vaxxers were choosing not to wear masks for the protest, but were about to go home or to the grocery store or to their to visit their friends and wear masks is simply not true. I mean, they're going to be putting people at risk wherever they go, which is part of why we're going to make sure that people who choose not to get vaccinated don't get on a plane or a train, don't get to work in the public service, don't get to, by working with the provinces on vaccine certifications and mandates, don't get to go to movie theaters or gyms or restaurants and other non-essential services. And that's why it's so important to continue to stand strong and determined on moving forward in the right way.
After the border was opened to fully vaccinated Americans and their children last month, border crossings more than doubled with traffic of people coming from the U.S. Dr. Tam has now said that we are in a fourth wave, estimating in the recent modeling we could be seeing up to 15,000 cases a day by the end of the month. So why do you believe that now is a good time to open the border even further to foreign nationals?
Fully vaccinated Americans. Those are the people who are allowed to come to Canada right now. Because we know that this fourth wave that is filling up ICU beds and putting a strain on healthcare systems across the country and slowing down our economic recovery in certain parts of the country is a wave that is affecting the unvaccinated primarily. Almost 80% of Canadians did what they needed to do and got vaccinated and now expect to be able to get back to normal and want our economy to recover. And that does mean welcoming in business travelers and tourists from places around the world as long as they are vaccinated, because that's not where the risks are right now. That's how we get through this. And those 80% of Canadians and their kids who've done the right things, they deserve to get back to normal as quickly as possible. And that's what we are allowing for. We will always monitor the risks, but right now the risk is by and to unvaccinated Canadians, which is why it's so important to do your part and get the shot if you haven't yet.
He was asked which country he most admired and referred to China.
There's a level of admiration I actually have for China because their basic dictatorship is allowing them to actually turn their economy around on a dime and say we need to go green as fast as we need to start investing in solar. I mean, there is a flexibility that I know Stephen Harper must dream about, of having a dictatorship that he could do everything he wanted, that I find quite interesting.